Hey everyone, it's Jax again from the Popcorn Review Podcast. Today's going to be my episode 35, AEW Grand Slam Mexico. It was actually pretty nice. AEW tries to work with different promotions. They've worked with AAA, they've worked with GCW, they've worked with TNA. They definitely have a great partnership with New Japan. So now with CMLL, this is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, they said that someone that's not from Mexico kind of like used this venue and kind of sold it out. So it's kind of nice to see. AEW is definitely putting their foot forward and working with a lot of different promotions. So again, that's nice to see. But this guys, it actually started off with Hangman Adam Page starting off the show, coming to the ring. Like I've been mentioning, he's been doing a lot of emotional promos, so I felt like that was going to be the same case here. And to be honest with you, he didn't let me down. Looks like he's been brushing up on his Spanish, or he's has bilingual there. He had his entire promo except for a couple words, AEW, John Moxley, stuff like that, in English. Everything else was in Spanish though. Like it was really nice to see, especially with how the society is going right now. Um, he just pretty much said there that together we can change the world, and that was the nice way to end that. Um, he did mention that he's not allowed to be in the arena during the main event, but once the match is over, he will be making his way to try to get after John Moxley. Again, nice promo, nice to be in Spanish. Honestly, they actually had another day that they had a CMLL um, or event the day before. So don't know how many AEW matches or AEW talent actually did it, but they did say this is the second time they've worked together. So I wonder if CMLL is going to be part of the Forbidden Door. It makes sense, to be honest with you. Forbidden Door had the three promotions going against each other. Um, can't wait to see it, to be honest with you. It was nice to see, guys. The crowd was definitely behind Hangman there, and just can't wait to see what's going to happen. Um, then you had the FTR. It was like a 14-man match or something. You had FTR minus Dax, or actually Cash couldn't make it, so they said he had some type of traveling or something to that effect. So you had the Don Callis family. You had Atlantis Jr. You had a few people, Atlantis Jr. and Atlantis there. Had Adam Cole, you had Danny Garcia, so just a lot of motherfuckers there. I think you had, I think, yeah, the entire Don Callis family. To be honest with you, it was actually a pretty good match. It was a little weird though because there were so many people in this match. I think it was 7-on-7, so they had a lot of people were standing on the outside of the ring because they couldn't even all stand around the ring or on the apron. So they actually most of them were standing, and when it was their turn up, they got on the apron, tagged in, or whatever the case was. A lot of moving parts, like I mentioned. FTR, when they're working with luchadors or high flyers, they actually do really well with their old style of wrestling. So it was actually nice to see. Um, this match was all over the place. Brody King actually came out with abolish ICE. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Just by the way you look, you don't look like you're on everybody's side or understanding. And by seeing that, Brody King, man, two thumbs up from this guy. Appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate you. Um, this match was pretty good. Like I said, a lot of high flying. Introduced a lot of Mexican wrestlers that I've never heard of or seen before. Um, Templario, again, that dude, I can see AEW picking him up in the future, even if it's just for a couple shows, Ring of Honor, whatever the case is. I definitely see him coming over. He's really good. Again, he reminds me of a Rey Mysterio. Um, Bandito was doing his thing. Just an all around match. These guys were just killing it, going back and forth. Um, you did have it was actually during this match, it was really weird for me. So you had, you know, Atlantis and Atlantis Jr. And every time Atlantis Jr. did something, the crowd booed the shit out of him. Like, don't know if he's a heel back home. But when he was, in the States, when he was wrestling, again, a lot of people don't know him, but it was just weird. Like, he was just getting booed. But every time his dad did something, they were cheering. Even the people that, like, when he was going against the Don Callis family or Hechicero, all those guys, they were praising them and booing Atlantis Jr. So I don't know if there's a storyline building that he's going to turn on his dad over there, or maybe he just rubbed them the wrong way when he aired, but or debuted. But as of right now, Mexico was not feeling Atlas Jr. or damn, I keep saying Atlantis Jr. So not sure what's going on there, like I said, but they are not feeling him at all. Don't know what's going on there. But and for a while he was just like, "Come on, let me have it, let me have it." So he was actually in on it. Like, yeah, I know they don't like me. It was just weird, like he's home, he's wrestling, and they just didn't want to hear it from him. They weren't feeling him at all. Again, I don't know if he's trying to be like his dad, or maybe the storyline over there he is a heel, and that's kind of like why they're acting that way. But Arena Mexico was not having that dude. So if somebody understands why they're booing him, please let me know, because it was just awkward. Like, he is a face, at least during this show, and they're treating him like he's a heel, or maybe he turned on his dad like Dom did. I have no idea, but something's going on there, and it is what it is. But please, guys, if y'all know, let me know. Um, you did have Atlantis there. He rolled up Dax and pretty much just a simple roll up pin, took the win there. It's kind of weird, to be honest with you, because he's such an older wrestler. You didn't expect him to do much. He did a couple spears, did a couple, this to that, a couple punches. But yeah, a guy that old, I don't expect him to do nothing crazy. So it made sense that he would win with a roll up. Um, Decent match, honestly. Again, introducing us to some of the wrestlers we've never seen, at least me personally, never seen. So it was nice to see. Nice little change as well. So hopefully they keep their partnership with them, CMLL there. And again, hopefully they're part of Forbidden Door. That would be nice to see. So from there, again, the good guys won that match there. But it was after that you did have Okada versus Mark Briscoe. Um, Mark Briscoe's kind of like getting back at Okada for what he did to Kenny Omega the week before. He did say, "Hey, I'm going to make sure, you tried to make sure Kenny didn't walk into All In 100%. So my job is to make sure you don't walk into All In at 100%." And to be honest with you, this might have been the best match I've seen Okada do. I don't know if it was because he was working with Mark Briscoe and he was trying to just amplify his moves or amplify his match set, but Okada impressed me yesterday. Everyone, again, I always said Okada was boring. Okada impressed me yesterday. He was doing some stuff. He was great facial expressions. Yeah, he did his "fuck you" to the crowd or whatever the case was. Great facials. Again, facial expressions. Great move set. And him and Mark Briscoe actually had a good match, hard hitting match against each other. Um, there was one part, he did the middle finger to the crowd, and Mark Briscoe goes to bite his finger, but because he's missing his front teeth, Okada's looking at him like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then he bites him with the side of her molars or whatever. So then you saw him acting out. But again, great match. We knew Okada was gonna win. Long story short, Okada was gonna win. Um, then after that, Don Callis and Okada just start beating up on Mark Briscoe. To be honest with you, the crowd was chanting Kenny, but because after what happened last week, I didn't expect Kenny to show up. I think Kenny's going to show up either right before All In or a couple weeks before All In, just to kind of like, hey, I'm back type of deal. But we'll see how it is. Again, if this Okada shows up against Kenny and Kenny brings his shit together, that's going to be one hell of a fucking match, man. I cannot wait to see that, to be honest with you. If that Okada shows up and Kenny shows up even 80% of what he usually does, man, that's going to be match of the night. I honestly don't know who the fuck's going to top that match. Again, I know it's going to be Hangman versus Moxley for the main event, but that's going to be either a close second or it's going to be hard to fucking beat. So let's see what happens. You did have MJF with Mystico. MJF came out in all red, white, and blue, still wearing that singlet similar to what MVP used to wear. Still kissing that ass. Even came out with the American flag, looked like, reminded me of like Hackshaw Jim Duggan there. Um, and then the Hurt Syndicate came out with him, nothing crazy. But then Mystico came out. He had his Sin Cara mask from WWF or WWE rather, and he ripped it off, and underneath the mask he had his green, white, and red to represent Mexico. So kind of like Mexico versus United States in this match. But this was a good match. A lot of people talk shit about MJF. This is how MJF really is in real life. Like, even Cody said it, Diamond Dallas Page said it. He's just an asshole in real life. So I think it's really easy for him to be the heel. And that's just what it is, he's just an asshole, and that's why people say he's our douchebag, or he's an asshole, or he's a douchebag. But the crowd was actually okay with the Hurt Syndicate, like any other crowd, and booing MJF. Now, you did have them go back and forth. This was actually a decent match. MJF was doing his thing. Mystico was doing his thing. There was a couple botches here and there, but the match was still pretty good. Um, Hurt Syndicate was kind of protecting MJF. They built like a wall, and then MJF was like talking shit, like yeah, whatever. And then once Mystico kind of like walked away a little bit, then MJF kind of busted through and took him out for a little while. But again, back and forth match. When Mystico was actually getting the better of MJF, what happened? MVP gets involved. Low blow. Mystico actually breaks out, or jumps out of the pin predicament there, and MJF gets so pissed he low blows him again, DQ. So Mystico wins, but it was they beat his ass pretty much. But you had those four guys beat his ass. Then you had to help him. Oh, MJF actually ripped his mask off and put it on. So that was crazy to me. Ripped his mask off in Mexico, and he put it on. So he has a Mexican luchador mask with a United States. He even had Uncle Sam on his chest, which I thought was crazy. But you did have Bandito come out. You had a few other guys. I forgot their names, but I know Bandito came out. You had Speedball Mike Bailey, and you had Kevin Knight. Again, really high on Kevin Knight. I wish I would have seen him wrestle tonight, but I understand. Um, they're still saying, "Hey, we want the title, so we're gonna come after you." So they're gonna have a shot somewhere down the line. Maybe it'll be at All In. I honestly don't know. Um, but he did get saved. Mystico got saved. The crowd was feeling it. Everybody was doing their thing. So Mystico did win, but it was because of a DQ from MJF kicking him in the balls. The messed up part was MJF actually tapped out when MVP kind of got up on the apron. So technically MJF did lose the match, but the ref didn't see it. So that's a little thing there. But again, he gets help from his luchadors there. So it was nice to see. You did have another match. Ricochet versus Leo Rush versus Hologram, and then I think is Mascara Dorada. Hopefully I said it right. But it was another nice match. To be honest with you, it made sense to put Ricochet and Leo Rush in this match. Other than Kenny, other than Sammy Guevara, and other than Will Ospreay and Swerve, those guys are kind of like a luchador vibe. So it made sense to put them in this match. Yeah, it was for 4 million pesos. They were saying that the winner wins for 4 million pesos. Ricochet's actually been chasing money for the last. Every time he's in one of these matches, he loses, so he was chasing money again. Um, for a while though, you did have Leo Rush and Ricochet actually working together and working well together. So maybe he'll team up with Andretti and Leo Rush in the future. He did say he was looking for a crew, so maybe that's a little Easter egg there. Um, but it was actually a good match. Flips out of the ass, backward flips, all type of shit. Hologram and then Dorada there were working together too. And then they started going at it. Right before they started going at it, boom, they get pulled down from underneath the ring. So we weren't able to see that match. So hopefully that match happens in the future. Um, but you did see again after that, you did see Leo Rush and Ricochet work together again, and they were doing pretty good. And then Leo Rush was feeling himself and goes rubs on Ricochet's head. And Ricochet was like, "Yo, what the fuck? Like, nah, bro, we ain't cool like that." And he was like, "Man, chill, y'all. Just you rubbing your head for good luck." He was like, "Nah, we not cool." And they start going at it. So now it's just one on one for the four of them. Great match, honestly. High flying, a lot of nice spots. Everybody was doing crazy shit. I understand why Leo Rush and Ricochet were in this match. Like I said, um, Hologram did pull it off, to be honest with you. I thought they were gonna let the homegrown guy win, Dorada there, but Hologram did win. So it was nice to see a luchador win. They did say Hologram never wrestled in Arena Mexico, so it was nice to have him in there take a win. Yeah, he's signed to AEW, but it was nice to have Hologram wrestle at home because he was just in the indie scene out there. He never made it to that threshold there. So it was nice for him to get that acknowledgement in front of his possibly family and friends and people that he knows. So it was nice to see. Um, but it was just crazy. You kept hearing during that match, "This is lucha, this is lucha, this is lucha," and it just rang out. But again, Hologram did take that win for 4 million pesos. So they said it was like $200,000 U.S. money. So he still won, still won $250,000 or whatever you want to say. Um, you did have another match. It was Will Ospreay, the Ops with Swerve. Then you had the Death Riders with Mordos and the Young Bucks. Apparently, um, you were supposed to have Claudio in this match, but Claudio too had issues getting to Mexico apparently because of travel. So Claudio didn't make it either. So they were just kind of filling in. Kind of filling in with certain people, and Claudio didn't make it. Um, to be honest with you, the Ops was taking turns whooping Yuta's ass throughout this match. Like they had him in the corner, and it just kept doing like the sting splash, the kicks, all that shit. They were just taking him out. Excuse me, guys. They were just taking him out, taking their sweet time, fucking him up too. This match was everything though. Like I mentioned, Ricochet and Leo Rush was in that match. This match had some luchadors in it too, all doing their thing. Um, to be honest with you, I expected this outcome. Um, for the good guys to win. And it is what it is, to be honest with you. Like they're building for the match over there with Moxley and Hangman. And like I mentioned earlier, Hangman was like, "Hey, I can't touch you during the match, but once the match is over, I can do whatever I want." So once the match is over, they start beating down on the good guys, and Hangman's music hits. He comes to the ring. He actually goes after Moxley. They're face to face, and he goes to give him the buckshot lariat. And for whatever reason, the Young Bucks get in there. Moxley ducks and he hits, I think, Matthew, if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, the Bucks are looking at him like, "Yo, man, what are you doing?" What do you mean? What are you doing? He's trying to get his belt. The same thing y'all want him to do. He's trying to get his belt back. So the way it's looking though, the Bucks might try to cost Hangman now the title because he hit one of the EVPs or whatever, or the founding fathers of AEW. So but this match was again pretty good. Showed a different style with everybody. People were working well together. Swerve was definitely feeling himself. Will Ospreay came out with like the head bandage or whatever. But in all, this was a really good match. They were all working well together. Moxley again, this gimmick, I can't wait for it to be over. If Hangman doesn't win this shit, I don't know who the fuck's gonna do it. I don't know if you're gonna have Brian Danielson come back and the American Dragon come back and try to win it back, or I don't know who. Cope already tried, I think twice, couldn't do it. Who's left? Hobbs tried. Samoa Joe tried. Like I don't know who would be left to actually come back and do this. Um, and it is what it is. Like yeah, like I like Moxley, but this storyline is fucking garbage. Like it is. That's it. Like it's fucking garbage. Um, well, there was another match for the night. You did have the CEO Mercedes Monet with her fucking, I think, what, 5 belts now, because she did win another one before recently. She's also walking around with the Owen Hart tournament belt, and now she's wrestling for the CMLL Women's Championship versus Zeus. If I said it wrong, again, my bad. But it was actually pretty nice. I didn't know that she was from Puerto Rico. So it was nice to see a Puerto Rican native, even though she's in Mexico wrestling, still doing lucha, still wrestling, and at a high level because they got her as champion. So it was nice to see. Um, this match was actually pretty decent. Pulling out a lot of stops, moves that I wouldn't expect these girls to do. To be honest with you, I don't know if they've ever worked together before, but some of the landings were a little awkward. To be honest with you, um, I did expect Mercedes Monet to win. I know a lot of people were upset that she's collecting belts, but Kenny did it a few years ago. I don't see what the problem is personally. Kenny did shit. I think he had TNA, AEW. He also had New Japan belt, if I'm not mistaken, and I could have sworn he had a fourth. I think he had 4 belts total. So Kenny was racking up belts too. So if Mercedes is doing it, I don't see a big problem with it. Now, Mercedes did win this match. Okay. She did win the match. They did the confetti or whatever they call it, shot it out. And the ref started putting all the belts on Mercedes, and she's celebrating. All of a sudden, her music stops, and Timeless Tony Storm has like a vignette, and it's all in black and white, and she's like an old private eye detective or whatever the case is. So that was kind of cool to see. Like they're still kind of messing with that old Hollywood vibe. So that's really nice to see. Now, you did have Tony Storm come into the ring and again sniffs Mercedes Monet from like behind her ear, and they start going at it. But when I saw Tony Storm, she actually reminded me of Carmen Sandiego. So I don't know if anybody remembers Carmen Sandiego, but she was all in red and her hat, and she reminded me of Carmen Sandiego. That's the first thing that popped into my head once I saw the red trench coat. So they're gonna have a tremendous match. All In is gonna be stacked, guys. I hope you guys watch it. I know I'm gonna watch it. All In is gonna be fucking stacked. Like that pay-per-view is gonna be amazing. AEW always puts on good pay-per-views, but this one here is gonna be stacked. Um, so I do have two scenarios. I believe that Mercedes Monet is gonna win this match at All In. And she's either gonna do one of two things. She's gonna relinquish all her other titles because she made it to the mountaintop of AEW. No need to have all these other belts anymore. Or Tony Storm gonna beat her, and Mercedes Monet is gonna go crazy and lose every title that she has, and she's gonna continue to chase. Like she's gonna take a bunch of L's, lose every. I think she got again 5 titles. She's gonna lose everything, and she's gonna take a bunch of L's and continue to chase timeless Tony Storm, but with nothing. Like she's got nothing else to give. She's got nothing else to offer, and she starts building up her wins and chases after Tony Storm and then finally beats her. So two scenarios there. Mercedes wins, relinquishes all the other titles. She don't need them no more. She's made it to the mountaintop. Or Timeless Tony Storm wins and Mercedes goes crazy and loses everything. So what do you guys think, guys? Let me know what you guys think. Again, can't wait for All In. Hope you guys are going to be watching. AEW All In is going to be fucking amazing. Again, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great one.